Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Get Creative. Today we're going to be talking about how you can quit your job. You can be focusing on helping other people get their deals done. Such an interesting thought process where when I first started getting into real estate, I thought I had to be the person door knocking, cold calling, coming up with the money. I was the one that had to do all the paperwork. And I actually heard a YouTube episode yesterday of a guy saying, 40 years of experience. Here's everything I would tell you to do. And he says, I did it all myself for 20 years until I realized I didn't need to do it all myself. And then the last 20 years was 10 times more successful than the previous 20. And so that was my experience too. I thought I had to do everything myself. And then you realize that there's all sorts of cool strategies and ways to make money that you don't have to be the person going out and finding the deals, finding the houses, negotiating with sellers, or doing any of the paperwork. So today we're going to be talking to Roger and Diane Oquist. They're going to be talking about their business inside of Gator and Top Tier TC. Roger, Diane, how you doing?
We're doing great.
Doing great.
You guys started doing a meetup for the community in Grapevine, Texas. So anybody listening to this right now, reach out to Diane and Roger. Where can they reach out to you on Instagram so they can hear about where the meetup is for our community?
Well, I am not Instagram very good. I mean, I have it, but I don't watch it. But I'm great on Facebook. So Diane Oquist on Facebook. Roger Oquist also. I tend to watch the social media a little more as he's still working out of the house a lot more.
Okay, so tell me what your business looks like, because what I understand, if somebody's watching this right now, they probably have seen some of my Gator training. They probably think it's a scam. They probably think that, there's no way they can possibly do it. There's no way I can get in. What I understand is that you guys are bringing in newer Gators to become connectors for your business. And so you guys are kind of hand-holding newer Gators that are coming in and joining the community. Is that correct?
Yes. We'll try to
break
keep
that
them
down
safe.
for me. Tell me what that looks like.
We're on a lot of Zooms, and we reach out to people, and they reach out to us. And then we've gotten to know Carly and Jade, and we're in Gator Elite. So some people refer to us as a power couple at times. It's, oh, you're the power couple. Because we jump in, and larger deals, we try to wrestle them with people. We have a buy box. We do $50,000 per deal. And right now we have 12 deals out. That's kind of where we are, about $50,000 per deal. We did one at 160, and we brought in three other Gators, two at 50 and one at 10. So to help them, that kind of mitigates everything if anything does go sideways. And we partner, we bring new people in, we help them underwrite too. If they keep sending us a lot of deals, we just have them go through the underwriting course with Alexis and Abraham, which they did a great job. Yeah. And they're able to bring us deals, and they have some knowledge, because we're not going to babysit and hold their hand the whole way. They need to do homework and learn. So,
yeah, we usually give them an assignment. We tend to, we have a Calendly set up to specifically meet with new Gators that we welcome them in. And it's a very short meeting, 15, 20 minutes, just to see where they are in their journey. Maybe they need to go through the training. That's usually our first question. Have you done all the training? And then we always recommend they go through the Gator underwriting, the safety, the ethics. And we're like, you shouldn't do anything until you do all of these things. And then from there, we give them some tasks. They always laugh at me. I'm like, yes, this is the teacher in me. I always give them a homework. I make sure they set up their Blink card. We walk them through what we do to secure a deal. Like, this is how we make sure a deal is secure. And we always tell them, don't go into a deal until you've had somebody that's been doing this look at that deal, because, you don't know what you don't know until you've done a bunch of deals.
Yeah. Jump on the underwriting with Jason Park. Also, we're great friends with him, and they go a little bit. Jason does a little bit different on what he talked about. They do larger, high end. We do a lot.
They try and do like $1 million deals.
Yeah. We are the opposite end.
We've built,
which is great, because there's so many deals at your guys' size and so many deals at their size. And I would say I lean a little bit towards the bigger side. I'm probably like $500,000 to $700,000 are my particular, like my deals. And I love that you guys are in that space of the $50,000 or kind of in that realm, because I feel like there's more deals And there's a lot less risk of that size as well. And more people that are beginners can participate in that. And you guys are helping so many people in the community doing all of those things. So you guys are, how many hours would you guys say you're working on a daily basis on your Gator business, just the Gator business?
Well, that's hard because I'm TCing throughout the day. So I would say, because I'm jumping back and forth, maybe actual Gator, if you call networking, is that part of it? Because that's a huge part of it for me.
I mean, you got to be networking anyway. That's like,
right. So maybe analyzing deals, maybe I set aside about an hour a day to look at new deals.
Okay, so you guys will generate about 100, and you'll probably hit $115,000 or $120,000 this year in profit. All from about an hour a day's worth of work.
Well, no, some of that's TC, and I would say TCing.
TC is a different number. I mean, you guys are making 50. You're making 50 grand on that.
Yeah. So that one I put in maybe 4 hours a day towards my TC.
Okay, interesting. All right, so you've got for your Gator business. Let's say you hit $120,000 this year. Okay. You've got about another month. You've got 12 deals out right now, which means you've funded 12 deals. You've got 12 Gator deals in escrow right now.
Yep.
Do you know what your profit is on those 12 deals?
I do. I wrote it down. We have in the 12 deals that are coming up, we have about another 8 more deals that are out actually, and it's 80,000.
Okay, great. Let's say that over the course of 12, 13, 14 months, about a year, you're going to bring in $183,000 in that year from just about an hour's worth of work, of actual Gator work. Then on the other side, you've got another $50K. You'll probably end the year. It sounds like you'll probably end the year somewhere around $55,000 to $60,000 in your TC work. So all in all, in about a 14-month time frame, you'll make about $230,000 in profit, gross profit.
Probably.
Yeah, we didn't.
Very close.
We didn't even get serious until June or July.
Yeah, we really were just playing in it.
Well, that's when all the TC work came, because Diane quit her job as a teacher, and TC it was difficult for her because you need to work with escrow companies during the day.
Yeah.
And with her being a teacher, she couldn't get away. And
how much were you making as a teacher?
60,000, 65.
60,000. And you were, for $60,000, you were working how many hours a day?
Well, a lot of hours. I don't know.
Including drive time.
12 hours a day, I would say, because of taking homework and stuff, taking stuff work home.
Isn't it kind of sad how little we pay our teachers?
It really is.
Yeah.
I loved it and I loved the community, but it's just not.
The cool thing is that you get to still be a teacher to some degree, right? These new Gators that jump in, you're teaching them, you're still giving homework assignments. The difference is you can make $230,000 in the same time frame you could have made 60.
Yes. Absolutely.
Now that you guys are taking it a lot more seriously, here's my next question. I want to pick on Roger at some point and a little bit about his construction company. I'll get there, I promise. And by the way, my team gave you predetermined questions. Guess what? I don't ever look at those questions.
We noticed.
We know that.
I don't.
You just go.
I'm genuinely curious about the business, and so I don't want to go through any memorized questions because I'm thinking, what does the audience want to know? Right? The audience is sitting here going, I want to make money, and I just feel like I don't know enough about real estate. Right? So when you join Gator, what I love what you're doing, Diane, is you are reminding the Gators to go and watch the gosh dang training.
Right?
Yes.
100%.
Because the training I did is not just about Gator. We have fresh, what did we call it? We call it Newbie Nest. And we call it Snappy Start, which are two different courses in the very beginning that are like, we're just going to teach you the basics of real estate. How does a real estate transaction work? Who are the players? That training, I know it's a little bit long. I think the first one is like 8 or 9 hours. It is so well done. And it feels like you're in the room with me with the live audience and all of those things. I get so many people that text me or DM me and they go, Pace, I just finished Snappy Start. It's an unbelievable. I feel like I understand real estate now. Thank you so much. And then they start Gator. So you take them through Gator. You also make them take the safety course, which we did, which was like, how do you safely do this business? How do you protect yourself? How do you protect your partners? How do you make sure you're partnering with people properly? How do you make sure the paperwork is done correctly? All of those things. Then are you also telling them to take the ethics course?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So we guys, if you don't know, we release new courses to the community every 90 to 120 days. And one of the most recent additions was I asked Abraham and Alexis, who are in our community. Alexis started in our community at age 19, knocking doors when she joined SubTo. Got her first deal knocking doors at 19, got a $20,000 assignment. She's like, how do I scale? And I go, you need to become a leader, help other people. And that's what she did. And that's what you guys are doing. And Diane, what I'm really impressed by is that you're like, I have a calling to be a teacher. I'm not going to stop being a teacher. I'm just going to utilize my resources, my skills, and my ability to teach and articulate to people and hold them accountable. I'm going to use that amazingness that I've cultivated over all these years, and I'm going to help new people get into deals. And you're giving them homework, you're keeping them accountable, and you are helping people get involved, which is awesome. So if, let's say somebody is brand new to Gator. Let's say somebody's already joined Gator today, and they don't even know that you guys exist. Because believe it or not, I bet you there's people who have been in Gator for 3 months, and they go, I didn't know you guys were running Zooms. What Zooms can I show up to collaborate with you inside of Gator?
We really love the relationship Zoom.
Okay.
It's with Keola and Ryan. Pam and Tracy do it on Friday. It's relationship building. That one's amazing. Okay.
So guys, if you are in Gator right now, I would go into the relationship Zoom on Friday that's being done by other members that Roger and Diane show up to. They'll be in the side chat or they'll be on the main screen. Yep. Get in there, network with them, figure out how to get involved in their business. Now, make sure you're taking the training, of course. Now, let's say I don't know how to do the paperwork, Diane. Like, I'm a Gator. I watch all the training. I find an opportunity. I know we can make money. What if I don't have any money, but I have a good opportunity? Can you guys help me fund that deal?
Yeah. Yes. We talked about our deal. We have on our Blink card, we have that we always share when we're at those Zooms. We have a deal intake form that walks them through. I always tell them if they don't have the answers to all those questions, they need to go back to the borrower and make sure they get these questions answered, because these are the things that any lender would want to know before getting into a deal.
Okay,
so
cool.
They fill that out and submit it to us.
What you're saying is that when you guys are in that Zoom, you share a Blink card and they click a new Gator will click on your Blink card while they're in that Zoom. And it pops up a series of questions. And that series of questions is what you would call an intake form that says, hey, we want to know everything about the deal that you have. And as they're going through that intake form, they'll realize they have 2, 3, or 4 questions that they haven't asked the seller or asked the wholesaler or asked the agent, whoever it is that's bringing the deal to them. And it kind of nudges them along and tells them exactly what to ask, which then they can come to you. You guys will JV with them. You'll fund the deal. And Diane, it sounds like you'll also do the paperwork.
I will. I can't fill in the paperwork because that's not what TCs do, but I can meet with them on a Zoom and I can talk to them through like a contract, what needs to be put on there, the JV agreement. We usually get a promissory note and a personal guarantee completed as well for all of our deals.
Okay, cool. So
yeah, and I'll usually walk them through. We always do something else, Pace, that we recommend is a Zoom. Do you want to tell them about that we do with our borrower and our...
We do a Zoom with the borrower, the contractor, and talk to them about it and ask a lot of questions, because I can kind of, I get a good feeling from the construction side, just like if you were to interview a contractor. And then we get a scope of work and go over it with them, with the borrower. And then what that does is... gives us a security with them, because we aren't just going to send money out. We've been there, and we just, from our background and experience, we just really vet the deals and do as much homework as we can with the borrower.
And it's good too, those Zooms, because we lay the cards out on the table to the borrowers and we see red flags at that moment. So if we're asking them, we are going to want to see progress on this, and we're going to submit a progress folder to you to see weekly, depending on their experience level, weekly or biweekly progress input into there. If they freak out and at that point are like, well, I can't do all that. Well, you're not the borrower for us.
We had somebody run last week, and later afterwards, we found out there was another lien on the property.
Wow.
And we also, during the project, we have them walk from the street with the address and mailbox, walk in, video it. And all they have to do, takes 5 minutes, and all they have to do is throw it in the Google Drive, and everybody sees it. So it's communication with all the team.
So once that's set up, it really makes them realize, we are involved. We are not just passive investors. We're active investors in your deal.
And good borrowers, they'll give you all the information you need.
Yeah.
The scammers, they don't.
Basically, what really has been fun too, teaching side of this again, is when we get into a fix and flip with a brand new fix and flipper. We're very active in those because this is their first time and we know all the problems that can happen for them. And we tell them, we're like, if a problem happens, please call us. And we've gotten Saturday morning calls, tears of, is it going well, and we can calm them down and walk them through like what they can do. So it's been fun. We really are enjoying that aspect of it as well. We try not to take on too many newbie first-time flippers at one time because they can be a little more time consuming for us.
Right.
So, but we had to fire a contractor for someone.
That's not a fun thing. Okay. So what happens is usually when I end these podcasts, okay, and I jump onto the next podcast, there's this window where I go, okay, all right, guys, thank you for showing up for the episode. What ends up happening is during that time, I end the podcast. And then right there, I have like 30 seconds before I get onto the next podcast. And everybody I interview goes, hey, before you go, can I tell you how this has changed my life? I'm like, why didn't you say that on the podcast? And I know it's pretty obvious that you've quit your job. And I know that it's pretty obvious that it's changed your life. But what has this community meant to you guys?
We've built relationships with people. It's like family. When we saw people at Squad Up, hey, we got to see them in person. When you came out here, it's like, hey, when you were we did the event, you did the meetup. That's where we do our meetup at. It's a great place. Last week, we had people from our meetup we packed 1 million meals at church. We invited a bunch of people from our meetup group, and they came down and helped pack meals with us. We've done that every year at church. So we just built great relationships, and the money, it just starts flowing. It's not a passive. Nothing's passive. You need to put the work in, just like what we said with people need to go through the training, and they can fill out those intake forms for deals if they've done the training. It's simple. And the ones that haven't done the training. So we just built relationships all over the country.
And I guess
it's interesting to me how that happens, where people will send me deals and I'll go, you obviously have not watched the training. And the thing is, the training is so good. Like, it is so well done and it's entertaining. Really, I'm like, why did you spend the time to reach out to me with like just an address and a dollar amount? I don't know how much you're paying, when the money's coming back, what parties are involved. I don't know anything. Oh, okay. Well, can you tell me what I need to go ask the wholesaler or the real estate agent or the seller or the flipper or the so-and-so or the investor? I'm like, you did not watch the training. Well, I'm still working through it. Please, gosh, dang it. Watch the training. It will make you a different person. And people almost go out of their way sometimes to avoid upgrading themselves by just watching the gosh dang training. Now, speaking of which, I got 2 questions. I got to get into Roger. I got to beat up Roger. As this power couple that's running Gator and in this community, you're new. You just basically started essentially in July, let's say. What would you say 2020, the next year, what would you say next year is going to bring you in terms of income? You've quit your job. You're focusing on this thing now. What do you think you could make next year as a couple?
Well, what we're looking at is our rule of 72, and what the profits that we're making, interest-wise per deal per month. And what we have out, we should be able to do probably 400,000 in the lending plus TC.
So what would be your combined dollar amount that you would bring home next year?
Maybe 500.
You'll do more than 50 in TC.
No, you said 4.
Yeah.
Oh, you said 400.
400 to 450 on the.
I think I'll do
lending.
I'll do over 100. I would assume 100 at least in TC.
So your combined number next year as a couple, quitting your job, focusing on this, you're going to make how much money?
Probably 500,000.
My gosh.
She wants to go do more vacation. We got our kids moved out of the state,
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
why aren't you? Like, if you're going to make $500,000 next year, why wouldn't you go take a couple of laptops and go spend a month here and a month there and a month? Like, why are you even in Texas? Why not go?
You asked how it changed my life. So we are going to start going places more. Our kids all live in Pittsburgh and Costa Rica. So we have a family trip planned to Costa Rica. We're going to be going to Pittsburgh to hang with some of our other kids and our grandbaby, and definitely some other things involved as well.
And our daughter that moved to Pittsburgh that just had a baby, she's working for Diane, taking care of GC work.
Wow.
And our social media.
Yeah.
Now,
so we hired her.
How can I convince you guys to do all your files through Creative Title and Escrow?
I don't always have a choice. I do recommend it if someone asks me. Because a lot of times when I'm coming in as a TC, they've already
in escrow,
in title.
Yes.
And I will then at that point talk to if it was a difficult close, which many times they don't understand these closes. And so it'll be a lot of hoops to jump through. And then I'll talk to the borrower and we'll mention that.
Okay, cool. So let's jump on to Roger for a second.
Okay.
It's interesting to me because I was in this mindset as well of I'm going to keep my construction company and I'm just going to start bidding jobs almost to a point where I don't want the jobs. I'm going to bid them so high that if they say yes, it's like I can't turn them down. Right. And I would still get jobs. And it blew me the freak away. And what happened is I look backwards. I'm like, why didn't I do this 5 years ago? Why didn't I just double my prices 5 years ago? Because it's interesting. Like, as you need something, you squeeze it tighter and the opportunities like fall out of your hand and you're holding it and your margins are small because you're trying to get the job because you know that that's where your money's coming from. But when you go, well, my money's now coming from Gator and these other things inside the community, I don't really need this job. All of a sudden you double your prices or whatever the margin is you add. That's great. But I'm going to argue on the other side, not telling you to quit, but I'm going to be devil's advocate for a second. What if you spent the same amount of time in doing more Gator deals? Would you make more or less money next year than focusing on your construction company?
Probably more, I think. Now we're the money we're making. We're what's the term for it? We keep
rolling it into your compounding.
We keep rolling our money, but we make sure we get it back each time. So
you're rolling your money back. So in your mind, you're basically maybe you're living off your construction income so that your new income in Gator can compound into future deals.
Right.
Yeah, because we don't have a large monthly expenses personally, but we have about 450,000 out in Gator that will keep rolling.
Yeah, but to answer that, he is quitting construction. So
why do you want him to quit construction? What would it do for you?
I enjoy doing this at home with him. It's been fun. I said we're old enough now. We're at this point in our life that we need to just enjoy life, do this, and have his body not hurt. Because even though he's not physically doing work, since you did construction, when your guys don't show up or they need help lifting stuff into a truck or whatever, you are doing physical work.
Yeah, you're running around, picking up parts. You're on your feet all day long. You're in tough environments, breathing in dirty air. Like I've never breathed better than since I quit my construction stuff 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I would constantly blow my nose at the end of the day and half of the house's dust would be in my brain. So there's all that kind of stuff.
He does what you said, Pace. He always does way overbid them because he's like, I don't want this one. I'm just going to give a high bid. And I'm like, you're going to get it. You always
It's all referrals. I've never advertised. And
isn't that interesting about construction? Like you can really dominate in construction if you just pick up your phone.
Yeah.
Like if you pick up your phone, that's the best marketing ever. It's like, wow, a contractor that picked up the phone and came and gave me an estimate when he said he was going to give me an estimate. This is insane. Like you can really dominate. Roger, I'm going to argue now for your side.
Okay.
I actually really like what you're doing. I think that there's this call in a lot of men that are blue collar like you and myself that like, I love being out on a job site. I love seeing things being built. It kind of feeds the manly soul to a certain degree. And it does provide joy. And also you love working with your guys and your crews and they become family members. And as long as it's not taking away from, you know, this semi-retirement world that you guys are building for Gator, where you can get up and travel and you can do the things that your wife wants to do. I think keeping projects going is actually really good, because what if you guys decide, hey, let's go flip a house. Let's go do this. You have an active crew that's currently in flow with you. Right. And when I used to have crews not 18 years ago, I used to have 18 crews. When I started flipping houses, it was so easy for me to flip houses. I would just pull crews off other customers' jobs, or I would kind of, you know, divest my people all over. But then when I got out of my construction company in 2018, it was really hard to get my guys to do what I asked them to do. They're like, oh yeah, no problem, Pace. We'll get on your project once we finish this other customer. Right. I'm like, no, I just bought this house. I need you on this house right now. Okay. So yeah. I actually think that what you're doing right now is a good idea. But now I'm curious, where did you two meet, and what was the pickup line that Roger used to get Diane?
Where did we meet, honey?
We met at church. We went to, I got out of college and got a job. Okay. And then this friend of our family, she said, oh, go to this church, go meet a girl. So then we joined a singles group. And then I met her. We were in that group for a while and didn't even see each other. Yeah. And then once I met her and asked her, well, I called my mom that night. So I'm going to marry her.
You're kidding me.
And then we drove. I picked up flowers. We went on a date.
What year is this, by the way?
This. So we lived down south. My parents lived in Santa Barbara. I grew up in Santa Barbara area. Okay. So there was a place where we always bought roses and flowers. So it was 24 roses for like $10 back then.
This is when we were really cheap.
We were really cheap because there were a lot of growers there. And then what we did was I drove up. We went to my parents' house on our first date.
You're lying.
No.
How old were you at this time? Are you like 17, 18?
26. I graduated college.
Okay, you're 26 and you're taking your girl on her first date to your parents' house.
We're broke out of college.
Okay, got it. You're like, Mom, please make us dinner so we don't have to buy it.
No, I made the dinner. I cooked steak up at my parents' house. I cooked the dinner. And then we went to a play because we had tickets for a play up in Santa Barbara. And then went out with her and gave her 12 a dozen roses right before Valentine's Day. That's why we did it. So I made the excuse. I gave 12 to my mom and I gave 12 to her. And then she went home and she said she's never going to go out with me again. She told her best friend.
Why?
Because he was cheap.
I was cheap.
He took me to his parents. Look at your shock when you found out he took me to his parents.
I was shocked.
No way. So,
but also,
anyway,
I really love that. I really love that. Now, like most people, like my parents, you know, are a little bit older than you two, but my dad was not cheap. My dad mismanaged money. And so here they are like in their retirement age and they're having a hard time. So like you did it right. You know, you stood the test of time. So why, Diane, did you give him a second chance?
My best friend told me to. She goes, you know what? We're always looking for guys that are really extravagant and treat us really well on that first date. She goes, this one's a keeper, Diane. Wow. She goes, this is what you're looking for in a husband, right? And I said, you're right.
And they're still best friends.
Anyways, yeah. I always thank her.
When was the last time you texted her and said, thanks for pushing me to marry this man?
We talk all the time. She knows.
They went to kindergarten together.
Yeah, we're best friends.
How cool is that about life, that you've got a friend that has stood the test of time with you, that you still talk about this stuff and she sees you two together and she has some role to play and some responsibility there, which is just awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you decide, I'm not going to go on another date with you. But Roger, did you call her up the next day and say, hey, let's go out on another date? Like what was the next date?
We must have. I forgot. Back then we had pagers and
yeah, we didn't have a phone. We had
I was working at a job and I had a pager and it went off and my boss said, go put that in your car. Remember the old days?
Oh yeah.
Now you got people on cell phones that work all day long on personals.
You asked me on a hike. We went
on a hike?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is where he asked me to go.
And then we used to go to the gym every morning. So every morning we got up early and went to the gym. We met in February. We got engaged in June, and then got married in December.
Yeah, it was quick.
Wow. Not even a year.
Not even a year.
Where was the first kiss?
On the
pier in Santa Barbara.
And was it on the first date, second date, third date?
First date. Hey,
the first date?
It was on the first date.
You kissed him on the first date and you still didn't want to go on another date with him?
I had to check and see if I liked how he kissed.
Okay. Wow. My gosh, dude, this is awesome. Okay. So Diane, what does the future look like for you? Like travel wise, hanging out with your kid wise? Is it, hey, we have a little bit more control over our future. We don't have to be tied to Grapevine.
Yes.
Is part of your idea with Roger quitting construction just freeing you guys from the location handcuffs?
Yes.
So you can get on a plane and go, we're going to spend a month in Pittsburgh. We're going to spend a month in Costa Rica. We're going to spend a month with our kids, because I don't want to make you guys sad, but you are missing a lot of your kids' life if you guys don't live near them.
Absolutely. I know. And that's what we've realized. I mean, one of ours just moved away from Texas, so we'd been near her, and the other one went to Costa Rica this last December. So we have been in their lives and near them. So this year has been tough not having them nearby. So that was a big decision on why I quit teaching, so we could travel. Went on our first trip in September, right after school. It would have started. We went and visited our daughter when she was living in Vegas, and took a little road trip with her to California and her husband and baby. Yeah, which was fun.
Wow, guys. What does it feel like for the future? Does it feel like you guys are untethered? Do you feel like you're unlocked? Do you feel like you have a bright future in terms of we can do what we want when we want type of thing? Or you're
absolutely
not quite there yet?
This, you know what? This has been amazing. You got to get the mindset out to where, like you said, I go and do these construction jobs. I have fun. I've been trying to keep my guys working. That's part of why I take the job, because they've been with me for years. I just want them to keep working. And then the job is 20 minutes away. I go there for 1 or 2 hours a day, and they have it handled. But the future, this is just what we want to help our kids. Even our daughter in Costa Rica, we invested her into one of the deals. She had $5,000 in the bank. My parents did that with me when I was young. And when she comes back from Costa Rica in 2 months, she'll have $5,500.
Yeah.
Wow, and then we're going to she'll have $1 million in 7 or 8 years, maybe 10 years, if we keep with compound interest.
Wow. So from $5,000 nest egg.
Yep. Yeah. We're like, you might as well not using it there. So she's living her best life though right now.
But she was so upset. She was crying. She took $5,000 out of the bank. She had that security of it sitting in there, and she had 10,000. She'll come back and have $5,001 in her account. She'll have 5,500 back from one of these deals.
How cool is that?
But like you said, it's loan to own. We did a foreclosure on one. We got it back. We lost about $1,000. And
okay, tell me about that one. So you took one back. What happened? Was it a fix and flipper just got in over his head? What was the story?
It was a person in Oklahoma. She was supposedly a unicorn realtor. She got in over her head. She just got over, and that's where we kind of have our buy boxes of 50,000 each. The foreclosure we split up 3 ways,
and 1 deal per borrower.
And 1 deal per borrower, because I know we talked to you before. Our background was we invested too much with somebody at one time, and when it started crumbling, it all crumbled. So we've put in our protection from our experience over the years, because nothing, like you said, loan to own, and nothing.
What was that process like though, taking that house back? I'm sure that was painful,
tried to
right?
get it
or
back.
Was it not that bad?
We wanted to get it back deed in lieu of foreclosure, and our contract said we could just take it back. Okay. The lady, what she did, she kind of stuck her heels in and said no, so we had to get an attorney.
Why did she say no?
She was just crazy.
I don't know. She just really was
had
not
a bunch
reasonable.
of houses. You know what? I think she thought she could make it, like with the other where we ran into a problem before. It's like a gambler. They think they can just keep making it and try and borrow more and get it done. It just didn't work. She got too far behind. But then from the underwriting course, we talked to Alexis and Abraham about it. What we didn't know, even with the experience that we had, if you get a deed in lieu of foreclosure, all the liens follow it. So the foreclosure cleans it all up for you, which wasn't that bad to do. It cost us, I think, $6,000. She did a non-judicial. The attorney we got did it in her office. Took us a couple months. And the funny thing about it, the the contractor on the job really wanted the house, and he ended up buying it. So
wow. Okay, cool.
For himself.
Okay, so let me clean this up for the audience. So you guys go out and you do a fix and flip loan for a girl out in Oklahoma. This girl got in over her head. She's one of your borrowers. And I imagine she stopped communicating to a certain degree. Like it was hard to get a hold of her. Did that stuff start happening? Yep.
They get embarrassed. Right? They get embarrassed.
Yeah, they're embarrassed. They don't know what to say, right? And they're like, I don't know how to get out of this. And their ego also prevents them from just being honest and going, hey guys, I'm in trouble and here's the house back, and accepting defeat, right? Instead of just making it easy on themselves, which you guys just said, hey, just give us the house back. We'll save attorney's fees. You'll save time. Right. And let's just get this thing taken care of. Instead, she digs her heels in, which requires you to go get an attorney. This attorney comes and it takes, like you said, 2 months. Once the attorney got involved, did this girl start playing ball, or was she digging her heels in the whole time?
She was digging her heels in the whole time. The funny thing is, she showed up at the auction in the office and said, oh, can't we do something? It's too late. She didn't want it on her credit. We're gonna do whatever we can to get on her credit. We'll get a judgment, but we'll never get the money. We got our money back. We didn't get the interest that we should have got, but we didn't lose money. It was just that opportunity cost, but it's going to happen.
But you know what? You got $1 million education, didn't you?
We sure did.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You know exactly what it feels like.
Yeah. Every deal we do, we say we've learned something from. If you put your mindset that way every time, okay, what could we have done better on this deal that we could enhance our business with? And
what could you have done better on that deal?
Time. What do you think we could have done better on that one?
Well, one thing
you guys are doing a lot of Gator 3.0 deals, which is private money lending, right? For those of you guys who are out there in YouTube land listening to this, we have currently 10 Gator strategies. I've actually only completed 3 of them in the education. We're working on putting number 4 together in January, and we'll do 5, 6, and 7 in 2025. But there's so many strategies to make money in Gator. Roger and Diane are primarily focused on Gator 3. And when you're in Gator 3, what you're doing is you're deploying capital into projects that somebody else is managing, somebody else is in charge of. And so what happens is there is some risk there. And so you guys knew that going in, obviously, hey, we're going into a risky situation. We're deploying capital. Somebody could mismanage their contractor. They could go over budget. They could have miscalculated the house, but you guys obviously look at the house and what it's worth before you lend the money on the deal. And we have a rule in Gator that if you're doing Gator 3.0, you should loan to own, which means I'm only going to loan if I'm prepared to own this thing and get myself out of it, which is awesome. You got your money back. You had $1 million education, but what could you have done better if you jumped into a time machine? What would you have done differently?
I think one of the things, we changed our deal box a little bit because of it. That's when we sort of decided to start going with the lower ARV values, because that was a little bit of the issue. You know, it was going to sit a little too long for us.
I see. So it was outside of the normal purchase price of that area.
That price wasn't bad though.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. I'm just saying we
should have kept up. Yeah. This was going to be, she was going to refi it out before she's even done. So we should have pushed it a little bit quicker, because all at once she dropped the ball, because she was going to get we had a first on that one. She was going to refi that real quick and then get another loan on it.
We also weren't getting weekly progress reports or biweekly progress reports at that point, which is what we require now. So that was a huge thing that we changed.
We don't require payments every month. We require these weekly progress reports, because a lot of these people can't afford it anyhow. So
yeah, they're trying to flip a project. They're trying to make money, and they're doing the deal without any money out of their pocket, which is nice for them. But also, if they're hemorrhaging on, the monthly payments to you guys, it hurts them. But although you are super helpful in the process of getting them money and not forcing them to make payments, you sounded like back at this point, you just assumed that people were going to communicate when things were going great and when things were going bad.
Right.
And you learned very quickly, no. We need a weekly report or a bi-weekly report. Do you have here are our 10 points that I want to hear from you about every Friday, or here's the 3 things we want to get an update on every Friday. Anything like that? Any framework to follow?
We don't, but that probably be something else to add. I do send them a timeline. Well, I have them create a timeline with their scope of work.
And adjust it.
And then check off the items they were able to complete that week, so we can tell. It's an easier, quick check for us of, are you on track with this timeline, or do we need to make some adjustments to your time schedule? Because we know things. I mean, he is in construction, so we know things happen in construction. We don't expect them to be a very strict timeline, and we tell them that.
Right.
One other thing that we learned on that, we did have 2 deals with her. and we said, oh, we broke our rule. We got the one back. It was a small one. It was only $25,000. We ended up getting that one back in the process.
Okay.
And then the other one, it was a bigger project that she just couldn't get caught up on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. I've got that same rule. I don't try and get past 2 projects with one individual person, just because if their world implodes, I don't want to go down with, I don't want to be the whole ship. I just want to be like a couple of the rafts.
Yeah.
And
that's a good way to phrase it.
Like, what's great about Gator too is, like, I've got a loan out right now for $65,000, and it's a Gator 3.0 deal. And I'm in first lien position, which is nice. It's not a lot of money. $65,000 for somebody watching the audience is like, that's a lot of money. It's like, it's not really not that much money. I mean, you guys are doing hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month, right? So it's not a lot of money, but my return on it is $30,000. So the guy's like, I just need the money for 11 days and I'll return $30,000 back to you, which is a significant return. What his problem was is he had a lender that was bringing $6.5 million to this big project he's working on. And the lender's in Florida, hurricanes going on in Florida. His office pauses. They all go to Atlanta for, like, run away from the storm. Lender can't deploy the capital. This guy, Tino, his name is, says, I've got a payroll to make. If I don't make this payroll, I'm going to lose my guys. And I need this 11-day gap before the money comes back in. And I go, no problem. I can do that kind of loan. It's really risky because it's not necessarily a real estate project. It's a development. It's like a gas and oil development type of thing. And I said, yeah, I'll give you 11 days. Here's my return. I want $30,000. And then I put in the agreement that every day you're late is $500 because of something that you guys said. We know projects go late. And so I put a late fee of $500 a day. And I believe we're getting paid on Monday, but it's racked up somewhere around an additional $7,000 in late fees on this project. Have you guys implemented late fees, and have you seen people eat into your late fee pretty heavily yet?
Yes, definitely. Our very first deal in Mississippi.
Yes.
It went months late. We could tell it was having trouble, but we had late fees implemented. They ended up actually buying us out with another PML. We were like,
and then they
could tell he was in trouble. I'm like, oh, I wish I knew this other PML to warn them not to do that.
And then they came back in another round and asked if we wanted a loan on another one. And now we know that person's in big trouble. He borrowed from a lot of people.
But yes, he had racked up. We always we take our fee that we have and we divide it by whatever we're going to be getting monthly, divide it by 30. That's our per day amount that we're making. And then we increase that.
What was your per day amount on that Mississippi deal? Was it like a couple $100?
To look back, I could tell you.
Pull it up. I want to know.
Okay.
We got 2 more minutes, so we got the time. It's interesting. Sometimes I make more money on the late fee than I do on the actual fee.
We did on that one. Yeah. We were like, this was one of our first ones, so we didn't negotiate it necessarily as good as we do now. But
how do you negotiate it now, Roger? What do you guys do on the late fees?
We take the interest or whatever. We don't usually call it interest because of the terms. But we divide, once we figure it all out, we divide it by 30. And then that's their per day fee. Yeah. However much we're going to make per month is what the per day fee is going to be.
And then increase that a little bit.
And that can be an incentive for them also, because what we explain to them is if you only go 7 days into the next month, we're only going to charge you about that 7 days worth of interest or late fees. We're not going to stick you to a full month.
Yeah, we don't want to kill our borrowers. We want them to be successful. So we do look at that as well, as we want them to be able to get out and have made money and move on to another project. So hopefully we can lend to them again.
The newer flippers that were running into problems, and we fired the contractor, we lowered their interest rate 1% a month.
Yeah, just they weren't gonna make money.
We didn't want them to lose,
and we were making a very high rate on that one. So our interest rate on the first Mississippi one was $150 a day. Yeah, we had lent $60,000.
And they paid you the $150 a day and they were how many months late? Couple months?
They were number of days late. They were 35 days late.
So a month late.
Okay, so you guys made like $2,500 or something like that just on late fees.
How do I? That was $5,250 in late fees. So I don't know.
Okay, 150 times 30. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's $4,500 a month. Yeah, $5,250.
Yeah, so we ended up making on that deal, $15,300 on our $60,000.
Yeah, the holidays come along, and things don't move, especially in the cold areas.
Oh yeah, and your contractors are doing their parties with their families, and you know, if they take time off, it's like a slow part of the year. We in our world, when I was flipping a lot, we would buy a lot of our projects during this time because a lot of the buyers are taking off and heading out on vacation for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. And so we would get our best projects for Q1 and Q2 locked up during this time of the year. But at the same time, the bad part is that as you're trying to sell the houses, there's less buyers buying in Thanksgiving and December, et cetera. Right. Less people are trying to move their family in December. Most people are trying to move their family in like the beginning of summer or the end of summer or before Thanksgiving. And so you are going to have not only the construction aspect, but you're also going to have the challenge of buyers not picking up these houses off the MLSs quickly. And so planning on the late fees is an important thing. And I love that you guys are implementing the per day charge that actually ends up racking up to a point you're like, man, we're making more money off this than our original fee was going to be, which is awesome.
We like when they're late.
Yeah, as long as they're showing progress and they're not in trouble, we are like, that's okay. Take your time. We don't have to deploy it. Actually, the hardest part of lending is keeping your money moving. So every time you get it back and it's in the bank, it's now opportunity lost. So we're like, we got to get the money back out. We got to find another deal. And so we don't mind when they're late.
Well, we had an interesting one recently. The guy paid us back 2 months early. We started asking too many questions and he got frustrated. Diane was asking too many questions. He got frustrated and it was due in February.
It was due February.
We got all our interest all the way up through February. He just paid us back. Yeah.
I said, why are you doing this? I said, I just am asking you questions that are common sense questions. Like he hadn't started the project yet, things like that. And I'm like,
we have no idea
why. We need to see what's going on. Why are you not started this? It's already been a month.
I love that you, by the way, that's good advice for other Gators. Like be unapologetic in your asking of questions. Don't feel ashamed or embarrassed to ask questions. You are the person with the money. You need to be asking these questions. And I think other Gators are fearful to ask the question because they don't want to upset the borrower because the borrower is where they're making their money. But here you are. You go and get all your interest because somebody goes, I don't want to answer your questions. Honestly, Diane, if I borrowed money from you, I'd probably do the same thing. I'd be like, lady, here's your money back. But I also have people on my team, right? And I think a lot of these people that are just flipping 1 or 2 houses at a time, they don't have a team to communicate with them. And for me, I would just talk to Molly. Anyway. Right. Okay, I'm 20 minutes late for my next meeting, which is perfectly fine because this is fun. It was great to hang out with you guys for almost an hour. Any advice you have for new Gators, mindset, or follow the training, or come in and find us and let's do deals? What is your parting words with Gators out there that are either in the community or thinking about coming into the community?
Do the training, do your due diligence, and network with people. And you get to find out who wants to help you and who's good at what they're doing. Even Jake Day, he said, what are you doing in our Zoom? It's a beginner Zoom. We learn from everybody, even the connector with Keola and Ryan. And we're always learning. And they just mentioned the other day, the group of all of us is a lot smarter than one of us. So
true.
Diane, any advice?
Very much same. Always do your training first. I always recommend that. And then network. Because this, honestly, it's a lost opportunity for a lot of people because they get into this and then they complain they can't find their deals. Right. And we're like, what are you doing? You know, are you on calls? Do you have your camera on? Right. Are people getting to know you? Are you reaching out and talking to them in the chat? You know, so just being active in the community and you will get known pretty quickly.
On Facebook?
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you for coming to Get Creative. I appreciate you so freaking much. Congratulations on your success. I think it's amazing that just since you guys decided to hunker down and get serious about it back in June, July, it's kind of crazy to think like maybe in 2027, 2028, you guys are doing $1 million a year.
Who knows?
That's crazy.
We'll see you. We'll have a call at the pace and let you know.
Please. I want to, in fact, we should do an interview next December at the end of the year. And I want you to keep track of all your profits. I want to know what was your average time frame on the deals. I want to know what was your average profit on the deal. And I want to know if you could do this homework for me, Diane.
Okay.
I want to know how much time you spend on average per deal, reading emails. And you don't need to like tally every deal, but like tally your next deal and go, it took us an hour to underwrite it. It took us an hour to communicate with the borrower. It took us an hour to deploy the capital and It took us this, and this. Over the term of the transaction, we followed up with 18 emails. They all took about 15 minutes. Combined total, I put 12 hours into this deal and we made $14,000. I would love to know that.
Sure. Yeah. I'll do that with one of our deals.
And something else they do, we underwrite, and we didn't believe it in the beginning. You'd hear about people underwrite 100 deals. It's probably less than 10% that we really do because we underwrite so many deals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's our number 2 is you underwrite 10, you get 1. You underwrite 10, you get 1. And what we do on our company is that we tell them the 9, hey, I'd love to loan on this deal, but you need to fix these 5 things.
That's what
and sometimes those people come back on those things and we end up loaning on those, or they come back a couple months later a little bit better educated so that I keep filling my pipeline with good borrowers. And essentially part of your job as a Gator is actually at some point educating the industry on how to present deals and how to make sure that they're bringing good possible scenarios to you. And you guys will see this. You'll see people come back to you like, wow, you're getting better at submitting deals.
Yep.
And that's a direct result of how good of a teacher you are, Diane. So congratulations on quitting your school job and continually teaching people.
And the community just helps everybody. We've joined other mentorships. This is just,
it's been great.
The way we've been able to accelerate, it's just on steroids with everything that you've done and everybody else in the community.
Amazing. Thank you, brother. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Roger. I appreciate you guys. And for anybody out there in YouTube land, reach out to Roger and Diane once you join in the community. Go into the Zooms where they're hanging out. Bring money to them. Bring opportunities to them. Collaborate with them. They'll walk you through your first couple of deals. They want to collaborate and do deals with you. Diane also will do the paperwork on those transactions, which is awesome. They're obviously seasoned, so go and work with them. And they'll teach you how to underwrite deals and vet deals and do all the things. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you.